Alright, so this is the beginning. 1952 MG
we don't have an arm
TD.
6 men to get that out.
Picking it up right now. It's a real barn find. 20-foot U-Haul van, and it comes with just a few extra parts, which translates to like a couple cars extra parts. Here's the engine there, and yeah, it's a real barn find. Here's the barn. And she came from back here. She lived back here in the back. It's a little bit nicer than a lot of barns. Her stablemate, right there. Sit here for about, I think 30 years. So, getting excited to get this one going. Here's the outside of the barn. Here's our U-Haul. We'll be loading up and heading home and unpacking for about the next week and a half. All right, we made it home. And so how do you get a 335-pound engine out of the U-Haul without an engine hoist? Girl power. That's how you do it. So the MG TD is now home. Had a little bit of a chance to look over it. It's got maybe just a few issues here and there. Wood looks pretty good. A couple typical areas here. This one looks all right. The one on the other side is probably going to need some attention. It looks like this was put in primer, but I think it was put in primer, I don't know, 25 years ago. I don't think it's moved since. This is Georgia, 1977, 78, so 40 years probably since it was last on the road. So it came with a bunch of extra parts, but sort of the catch with that is it's just a bunch of boxes. MGA stuff, MGB stuff, shop stuff that doesn't belong in any of it. You can look through here and see some things that are definitely right for the car. There's some pedals. There's some things for the front suspension. Maybe a couple brake cylinders, master cylinders. I think these parts go to another car. You can see some carburetors. There's at least 3 sets of carburetors. I haven't gone through any of these boxes. I did see some gasket kits, so that's nice. Lots of extra part, some interesting things. This is a head. I don't know how well the camera picks it up, but I would say that's new old stock. See if we can get in close so you can see. I don't think that's ever been used. I don't think it was rebuilt. I think that's just new old stock there. I'll take it apart and look at it to see, or take it out of the bag and look at it. Here's another head, and then another one there that doesn't have the valve springs in it, or valves. We'll walk outside here and look at the chassis parts. I tried to clean them. They didn't clean up very well. Just swing over here. So we've got, I think, an MGA transmission here. I'm pretty sure that's an MGA rear axle. I think these parts are for the TD. I think these parts are for the TD and the front. I think that is an axle with wire wheels. So if I wanted to use wire wheels on it, and I think I saw another 1 or 2 of those. That looks like the rack and pinion front steering. Steering column maybe there. That is the MGTD transmission. It looks like it is missing the drive shaft with the little spline on it, or not drive shaft, but the spline that goes into the motor. That is a TD rear axle. Probably brake cylinders, wheel cylinders, I think they call them. A couple drive shafts. There's that other, move my shadow out of the way. The other hub there that I was talking about. And have at least 2 sets of leaf springs around. Swing over here. Got the engine. This is, I forgot the engine number. Well, we'll zoom in on it. That's on the other side. Spin in there, hold on. Okay, I think you can probably see that. It looks to be in really good shape. It's definitely spins pretty freely. I haven't looked at it at all. So the goal right now is to sort the parts. Obviously, you're noticing that there's no sheet metal. All the sheet metal is inside already. So I'm going to keep that inside for a while. The goal now is to try to make room to store everything, go through everything and find out what is MGTD, MGA, MGB, get the parts sorted out, and see what major items I'm missing. So to save money on this project, instead of buying or renting a power washer, I've got my power washer right here.
Manual labor.
Yeah, this is girl power, getting those things clean. Doing a great job. Alright, so we went through all the parts. Unfortunately, a lot of the parts appeared to be for an MGA or an MGB. There were some parts for the TD, so that's good. Lots of neat new things, clutch, pressure plate, various stuff that we were going to need to buy that we want. They all look good. I got the engine on the engine stand. I'm not really going to do much with it right now. I just kind of opened it up to turn it over and see if all the valve tappets went up and down, and all that appears good. There's not a drop of oil in it, but I think it was probably drained before that. Well, I hope it was. I don't really see like none of these are bent. I don't see any excessive wear up here. The other side here. So you've got exhaust, intake, and exhaust. That's very similar to how the Metz is. You see the freeze plugs there, a bunch of those. There is the engine number, which matches the number on the for the car on it. Transmission matches, body number matches. So as you say, it's a numbers matching car. I have to read up and find out how to measure these, but I think in part of all those parts was new valve springs, new tappets, all of that. So probably just replace them. One interesting detail here, and I'm gonna have to go in the net and look. You can see where the valve cover comes. It has a real thick, like maybe even 1/4 inch cork gasket that goes around it. But here are the bolts that hold the head down. You got these on the outside, and you can look in and see the mirrored that goes down on the inside. So that butts up right against the valve cover. I don't know if I don't know how that works. Doesn't look like there's barely enough room to have a nut on that. Let's see if these are really tiny nuts. Maybe, I don't know. It'll be interesting. I'll go look for some pictures, see how that goes. Obviously, they're not on there now. Weren't on it when I got it, and I haven't seen a bag that says it. What the funny thing is, all the nuts and bolts were very elaborately labeled. All the parts were very elaborately labeled, but they're for another car. So some guy out there somewhere. Maybe he has mine, and I have his. The body, I've gotten a chance to go through it more. The wood looks good. There's a couple places, let me swing around here, that I don't really like that much. So I think I'm probably going to take everything off and look at it. I don't think that is good. Right down there, see right there. Yeah, I don't like that at all. The rest of it looks pretty good. There's a couple places up on the inside, that whole metal bracket is missing. I haven't seen that yet, so that may be one of the first pieces we're fabricating. You can come around to this side, you can see that bracket's right here. It holds the dash on as well. In general, the wood on this side looks a little bit better. There's a crack right there. And then swing around to the back. A little bit of issues on that back piece of plywood, but not really anything else. The body is, you know, like it's in primer. I think it's been that way for 30 years. But it's in good shape. I think really only the back fenders have some dents in them. See this wood here, it'd definitely be replacing that. Probably replace the, I don't know about the floorboards. I mean, they're original. That's really cool. And they're in good condition. So I'll have to decide and take a little bit better look at it and decide whether or not to replace those. Windshield glass, windshield's in good shape, but of course the glass is not. All in all, everything looks really good. Went through almost all of the parts. Well, went through all the parts. Didn't find all the parts, but number of things we're missing is pretty limited. It's got one rust spot right there. That's it. And to fix that, you would have to take it apart because of the wood in there anyway. But if it's got that hole in there, you know the wood's bad. And it looks like a little pitting right here. So might just replace that corner. Looks like it's going to be quite a bit of effort to undo all this. And see around on the inside here, the rear wheel well. It's a neat car. The bottom, a little surface rust here and there. Really, this is just mainly stuff that's come up through the primer that was applied. All right, so I think the next step is going to be the transmission, the first motion shaft, which is the spline shaft that sticks out of the engine and goes in, or it's out of the transmission and goes into the engine or into the clutch and then into the engine, has been broken off. So we'll have to find out the story behind that. I've ordered another one and we'll be replacing that and checking out the rest of the gears and see how they work. See if everything in there looks good. I'm a little bit worried if something broke off that shaft, what the impact to the rest of the transmission might be. All right, so next part will be the transmission.